Against the bill, we're on House Resolution 1011, Jerry Cox. Mr. Cox, you would just state your name and organization for the record. We'll let you begin your testimony.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, I'm Jerry Cox. I'm the Director of Family Council here in Little Rock, and it's very difficult, as you might imagine, for me to sit here and talk about this bill and what's being discussed here with additional legislation that pertains to abortion. And so I'm going to do my best to speak about kind of the environment that we're in, and then I'll try to answer any questions that you may have regarding specific legislation. First of all, I have said on numerous occasions that I believe this Arkansas General Assembly is the most pro-life General Assembly that has ever been in the history of Arkansas. I really believe you all very well may be the most pro-life legislature in the nation, and quite possibly the most pro-life legislature that has ever sat anywhere in the nation. You guys have done amazing work. You passed as strong a law as you could pass this a year ago when you passed the bill that it's Act 309. That bill says that all abortions in Arkansas are illegal except to save the life of the mother. You can't get any stronger than that bill. And so I would say, well done. I would say you have done your part. You all have done your part. Now that brings us to where we are right now. I really believe that by this summer, Roe versus Wade may be overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. And I never thought when I started lobbying on pro-life issues 33 years ago that I would ever be able to sit in front of anybody and say, I believe Roe v. Wade is about to fall. But I believe it very well may. And we will know by summer. If the U.S. Supreme Court reverses Roe v. Wade in this Dobbs case out of Mississippi, all the good laws that you have passed are going to come to life, and they will be in play, including the total ban on abortions. And so rest assured that on that day, if that happens, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, all the other pro-abortion groups are going to beat a path right down to the courts, and they are going to do their best to muddy the water and say, well, the legislature said that abortion was illegal, but no, we got these other laws here that would say otherwise, and they will try to tangle this up in court and prolong it and try to nullify the good work that you have done. I helped with this effort back in December when the bill was proposed to pass the Texas-style abortion law. I have spoken at length with the attorney in Texas. He is convinced that it's a good law, and I don't blame him for being convinced of that. But here's what I'm convinced of at this point. We need to wait until summer when the Supreme Court issues its ruling before we do any more pro-life legislation. So I'm not saying, as far as you asked me my opinion. My opinion is that we wait until summer to do any more. And people might say, well, why wait till summer? You all know that the most recently passed bill many times will take precedent over bills that have been passed before it. So the attorneys that I've spoken with at the national groups, I was at a meeting on Thursday with a bunch of attorneys here whose opinions I highly respect. And they all said, even if you write it into the bill that this will not conflict with any other laws, a shrewd judge could interpret it differently. And I'm afraid that if we do any more abortion-related legislation at this time, you run the risk of upending the good laws that you've already passed. And I know that's not your intent. That's not Representative Payton's intent. I know that, and I highly respect Representative Bentley and all the other people that have put so much into this. But I think patience and prudence would be the wise course at this time, because if you file more bills and pass them, you give the opposition more things to muddy the water with between now and then. And I think that's serious enough that I came and I sat in this chair, because I've been deliberating on this really since last fall. And my opinions on it have moved over time as I've talked to people that I consider much more knowledgeable than I am on it. And so I would like to make one correction, and I know Representative Payton did not intend it this way. The U.S. Supreme Court did not uphold the Texas law. They sent it back down to Texas and said, you guys work this out. And so the fate of the Texas law is unknown at this time. But the lawyers that I have spoken with, pro-life attorneys around the country, have said, just because Texas stopped abortions with their law doesn't mean that any other state would have the same results, because the courts are different in every state. And the people that I have spoken with here in Arkansas believe in their heart of hearts that not just the Texas law, but any abortion-related law you pass right now is going to be challenged in federal court. It will be enjoined. It will be appealed to the Eighth Circuit. And you know what the Eighth Circuit is doing? They've said, we're not hearing any more, we're not dealing with any more abortion laws until when? Until after the Mississippi case is decided. So I would submit to you that the likelihood of any law you pass right now stopping abortions is very, very, very slim, maybe almost nil because of that. And so I think, if you were to ask me, well, what's the summation? It's just not now. Just don't do it now. And in June, we may be right back out here, and I may be beating the drum and saying we need a Texas abortion law, or we need some other kind of law. I may be doing that, but I'm not doing it right now because there is so much to lose. I've dedicated 30-something years to trying to pass pro-life bills out here. I don't want to throw it away. And that's what I'm concerned about. And I know y'all are in a bind, because people expect you to vote for a Texas-type bill. They think it's a good idea, and it sounds really good. And you will be misunderstood, probably, as I'm going to be misunderstood. But that's just the nature of being a grown-up and stepping up and doing what's right rather than what may be popular. So, Mr. Chair, sorry about going so long, but if I didn't make good sense, I hope somebody will ask me a question to help me clarify what I'm trying to say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cox. Any members, you have any questions of Mr. Cox? All right. Seeing none, thank you for coming
Thank you,
down.
Mr. Chair. Thank you.